Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the first Dr. Crow Forum of the school year. My name is Yasmin Alvarado. I'm the student body president for the downtown Phoenix campus. I'm just happy that you're all here. So I would just like to start off by introducing the amazing President Crow.
Thank you, Yasmin. And can everybody hear me if you guys can wave on the other campuses? Okay, sounds like they can hear me. So it's nice to see everybody, and hopefully we'll have a chance today to take questions and listen to concerns and so forth. And what we try to do with each issue that students bring up is see if we can solve it right now. If we can't solve it right now, I'll assign it to somebody so we can figure out what's going on. And there's folks in the room here that take on these assignments. And then usually what happens is we can usually answer the question, solve it now, or get someone working on it right away. So, seldom are we unable to bring about some kind of remedy. Before I start taking questions, let me say that we're opening the fall semester strong. We have fantastic enrollment increases both on campus and online. And we have, you guys don't know what Cylon Warriors are, but yeah, well, that's even deeper than Star Wars. And so we have about 75,000 students on campus in full immersion with us, like you all that are here. We have about, and that's on all 4 of our Metro Phoenix campuses, plus a couple of our learning centers around Arizona. We have about 50,000 students that are in what we call digital immersion. Those are students who are pursuing their degree, admitted to the university, but they're not here with us. They're digitally immersed with us from somewhere else. That's about 15,000 of them are STEM majors, which is we think quite amazing on the part of our science and engineering faculty. They've built fantastic online degrees for students that didn't have a chance to go to college or didn't have a chance to finish college if they went. And then we have hundreds of thousands of other learners who are just connected to us. They're taking a course, they're using the library, they're interacting with us in some way. So we have all told approaching 1 million learners that are connected to us in one way or another. We're doing well from a research perspective. We'll have record-breaking research competitiveness by our faculty last year, above $630 million in activity, which is a huge number. That not including a medical school. If you take medical schools out of Stanford, it's more than Stanford, more than UCLA, more than Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, Carnegie Mellon, Caltech, any of those schools, saying that our faculty are doing really fantastic jobs. Fundraising was fantastic in the past year. Over $400 million was raised from more than 100,000 individuals, 25% of whom had never given to the university before. So 25,000 new people who had never made a contribution before or made a contribution in the past year. So we're very excited about that. We hired more than 100 new faculty members, and they're here and amongst us and coming in from all over the world and all over the country. So we're excited about that. Student diversity. Our student body is representative of the total diversity of socioeconomic diversity in our society. Our freshman class from Arizona is majority non-white. And the population of the state is not majority non-white. So this is a great progress by the university, making sure that students have a chance to come and a chance to attend the university. We've got tremendous things going on around the institution, while at the same time, learning to improve. Our freshman retention rate for in-state students in the year that just ended was above 88%. Our freshman retention rate for out-of-state students was above 86%. Those are both record numbers for the university, so we're very excited about those. I was in East Lansing, Michigan on Saturday. Some of you might have noticed there was a small event going on there. A football game, 75,000 people in the stadium, including a couple thousand people from ASU or ASU fans. One guy came up to me at the night before there was right before there was a tailgate. I went to the ASU tailgate, and this guy comes up and he introduces himself and he says, "Hey, I'm an ASU graduate online from Cincinnati." He drove up for the game. And so we're also drawing people in from other things that we're doing. But what I really liked at that game was at the end of the game, the people in the green shirts that were in the stadium, which was their home fans, they didn't move. They couldn't believe it. We said, "Yeah, you lost." 2 years in a row. But it was a great game. Our quarterback and other members of the team, many of whom were first-year students, what they call true freshmen. The team is playing something like more than 15 true freshmen between their 3 squads, offense, defense, and specialty teams. And so it was just great to be there. Great to see so many ASU fans. Great to see us projected in such a fun game and so forth. So with that, where would you like me to go first for questions? Here? Okay, so Yasmin said we're going to go here. And so people should say their name and what they're studying and what year they are, just to give me a sense of undergraduate, graduate, and so forth. So any questions from here on the downtown campus? Here comes one. And if you have a question, you should line up. I guess we'll go with a couple from here, so you should line up behind the microphone.
Hi, I'm Renuka Vemuri.
Say your name again.
Renuka.
Okay.
I'm a sophomore on the downtown campus. I'm studying medical studies. I'm also in Barrett. One of the questions I had was what's being done to make resources for Barrett students on other campuses more equitable to the ones on Tempe?
Very good question. And where are you from? Where'd you go to high school?
Oh, Arizona.
Okay, Arizona. And so that's when I say, like, what state are you from? Where'd you go to high school? That kind of thing. So there was a fee passed that Barrett students are paying this year, which will include in its expenditure this year new facilities on several campuses to bring about enhancements. And so we're very excited about that. We're excited about the way the resources for that fee will allow us to expand staff, expand programs to get more what you call equitable, what we call just we have to give the services, Barrett College services to students on all 4 of our campuses. So you're going to see a big push for that starting right now. Facilities are being designed on multiple campuses. Facilities will be under development as soon as possible. Staff will be expanded. New appointments of academic deans for Barrett on various campuses, all moving in that direction. So we understand and have listened to the students say, well, the students at the Tempe campus can't get all of the cool stuff. We've got to make sure that we have great programs and so forth. So that's a very good question, very timely, and it's underway.
Thank you.
Yep. Other questions, downtown campus? And if you have them, you should line up over there so that, and then on the other campuses, students with questions might want to line up because it can become more efficient. Now, if no one's coming, I can ask myself a question, but I saw Sparky outside there. I have no idea why he's there. He doesn't speak anyway, so he can't ask a question. So just put the microphone down to your mouth.
To my height, yes. I am not a large person. Hi, I'm Lisa. I am a sophomore. I am studying journalism here at the downtown campus, and I am from Redondo Beach, California.
Someone has to be from Redondo Beach. So.
Yes, it's me. Hello. So I know I've seen this like in the news, and I know ASU has released a statement, but the 9 students who were deported,
yeah.
I have a really good friend at the Tempe campus, and it was her roommate. So it was just kind of closer to me. So yeah, I would like to know, like, I know the university can't really do anything, but like if you guys can do something.
And we're far from taking the can't do anything position. So we had 9 students who arrived with fully active visas from the People's Republic of China. I studied the academic records of all of these students personally. They're all great students studying hard. Some were very close to graduation. And for reasons for which we still have no explanation, we've asked for an explanation. We have no explanation. They were rejected at the border. They met our academic requirements. They had not been involved in any activity to our knowledge, nor no one told us about any that was illegal or anything like that, which could cause you to not be admitted upon entry. So we're not sure of what happened. We think that it's not good or fair or just for these people to go through that. 8 of the 9, I think, are now, is that right, Provost Searle? 8 of the 9 are attending ASU online while we try to sort this out. 1 isn't. We have asked the department in the US government for an explanation, and we're not getting very many answers yet. And if we don't get answers, we will press even harder, including legally, including with inspector general requests and everything else. You can't take people that are fully qualified to attend the school that they've been attending, pursuing the completion of their degree, and for a reason that none of which was given, turn them away because you think that there's something going on without giving someone a chance to explain whatever it is. And so we haven't had any of that. So we're fighting for these students. We're engaged with these students and trying to do the best we can to treat them fairly.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
That's good to hear.
Yep.
Hello, I'm Hannah Nair. I'm a freshman studying nursing, and I'm from Southern California.
Mhm. In a town unknown.
Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks. all
Not a
right.
lot of people know what Thousand Oaks is, so I just say Southern California.
It's in the Fernando Valley. San Fernando Valley, right?
Ventura County.
Oh, Ventura County. Up north of there, right?
A little more north. ASU offers a range of 4+1 accelerated graduate degree programs. However, there are none yet for the Edson College of Nursing and Health Innovation. Is this something that ASU is working on and that we can expect to see soon?
That's a good question. So every dean has the ability to advance 4-1 programs where you complete your bachelor's and then are immediately admitted into a master's program by completing your bachelor's at a specific standard. I don't know which colleges have which degrees at that level of detail because we have hundreds of degrees, but Provost Searle is sitting right behind you there, and he will ask the dean to communicate to the students about the status of 4-1, all of the nursing and health innovation students in Edson College, about the status of where we are, what programs we might have that you haven't seen or don't know about, or what programs we're developing. So Provost Searle will take that on. And that's
Thank
a good
you.
question.
Appreciate it.
We should have degrees in, maybe we do, in health innovation that are 4-1. Nursing degrees are more regulated in terms of the speed with which they can be pursued. And so that may be more difficult, but okay.
Hi, my name is Sarah Altieri, and I'm from Santa Monica, California, and I'm studying journalism. I'm also a freshman. I was wondering, recently we were ranked #1 in innovation for the 5th year in a row.
Mhm.
I was wondering how this has impacted both your presidency and ASU students here, both in downtown and around the world.
So very good question. So for me, what I feel mostly is grateful to be in Arizona where innovations can be accelerated and pursued. Grateful that our faculty and staff have been willing to innovate and adaptive. You know, anyone that's the leader of an organization can only be as fast as the slowest member of the organization. You can only be as innovative as the organization is determining to be. So the most important thing from my perspective is that we built a culture built on continuous innovation. We built a culture built on pursuing our charter, which you may have read, and if you haven't, you'll want to take a look at it. And so as a journalist, as a budding journalist, you know, you may want to take a look at, you know, how it is that we've been able to pull these things off. And it's about culture change. It's about committed staff. You know, we have over 2,000 of our faculty members are digitally trained. That is, they know how to teach in this format, analog, and they know how to teach in digital format also. They know how to express their ideas in new technologically enhanced ways. And so that means that we have a great culture, which is really conducive to innovation.
Awesome. Thank you
Yep.
so much.
There's more chairs up here for everybody that wants chairs. So you want to switch now?
Yes, so now we're going to go to the Polytechnic campus.
Polytechnic campus, okay. Whoever's running the camera, I'm going to move a little bit so I can see everybody.
Awesome. Hi, I'm Brandon. I'm the Senate President here at the Polytechnic campus, and I will be hosting for us. And I have 3 questions that students are wanting to ask you.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll start with the first one. What is the university doing to support students who promote civic engagement on campus?
The university looks to our students to create an environment in which civic engagement is widely participatory. And so we facilitate groups coming in, we facilitate group events, we facilitate course instruction to be related to civic engagement. We participate in creating credit opportunities for civic engagement. We encourage civic engagement. We have 1,200 student organizations, many of whom are civically engaged, hundreds of whom that is their purpose. Civic engagement is their purpose. We have the Public Service Academy, which has 600 undergraduates in it, fully tuitioned for those of you that might not be aware of this. And it's like ROTC, but it's not for training military officers. It's for training basically public service officers of the future that might work in public service organizations, government and non-government. So we do all of those things. If you have ideas of other things that we should do or could do, let us know about that. But those are all the things that we do.
Awesome. And to clarify that is the next generation service corps you were talking about, right?
So the Public Service Academy has inside it the next generation service corps, which is like ROTC, which is the Reserve Officer Training Corps. It's the same kind of thing. So if you're in that corps, you're in that academy. And we're calling it an academy because it takes on this notion of specialized, focused leadership training.
Awesome. Thank you. Our second question is, engineering students have to pay a fee for certain classes. We then have to buy additional items such as Analog Discovery 2 that can cost up to $200. Why aren't these fees covered in the additional fees that they have to pay for said courses?
Right. So engineering students actually pay one of the fee schedules. We now have 4 fee schedules. We eliminated all class fees last year. And how many of you are first year in here? So you don't know about what the world was before. The world before was bad. Over 6,000 individual class fees. So now we have the 4 structures. And so engineering is at the highest fee structure because the cost basis is highest. That does not cover your individual costs of an electronic device. And so the assumption is that you're going to buy that electronic device, that calculator, that you're going to keep that as your engineering calculator for the rest of your life, basically. And it's going to be your thing. It's your tool. So it's not the same as a book. It's not the same as something else. It's going to be your thing. You're not going to give that up. And so we could build that into the fee structure, but not every course has that. Not everybody wants to buy that particular machine. Some people try to do workarounds. They try to do different things. And so that's why an object that you can keep, like a calculator, that's your purchase. The fee structure, there are no additional fees for any classes. And if anybody has professors trying to charge them additional fees, you need to let us know because that's not supposed to be occurring. So.
Awesome. Thank you.
Provost who's shaking his head affirmatively. So.
Awesome. Our third question, what program or initiative that you can point to would you say is the main focal point behind the university achieving #1 innovation for this 5th year in a row?
There isn't one thing. We have more than 400 degree programs, more than 150 academic units, almost 20 academic colleges. I would say that by the way, you win that by basically a vote of all the university presidents and all the university provosts across the whole country. And admissions directors, also those 3 individuals. And so we think the reason that we're winning is that we're the only institution in the country which is accelerating in all categories of outcome. Graduation rate, graduation diversity, degree quality, degree enhancement, return on investment to the individual graduates, expanded research activity. Let's take engineering, for instance. We now have 17,000 students on campus in engineering, which is up about 10,000 students in the last 10 years on campus, and 7,000 online students in engineering, just picking one of our colleges. Well, people look at that and say, oh, that's not possible. And we've added thousands of women to engineering beyond what we had, and thousands of minority students to engineering. Again, they say, well, how do you do that? Well, you have to innovate at every level. Structural innovation, organizational innovation, technological innovation, cultural innovation across all dimensions. So I think people are looking at those outcomes and saying that's why they're voting for us.
Awesome. Thank you. That is all the questions we have for the Polytechnic campus at this time. So thank you.
We weren't sure if you were still turned on there or not, so. All right. Yasmin, where do you want next? Tempe campus.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Simone Rossi. I am the Director of University Affairs here on the Tempe campus. First, I just want to thank you, President Crow, for taking your time out of your day today to answer some student questions. Then I'll open the floor to some questions as well. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm going to raise this mic because I'm definitely taller than Simone. But hello, President Crow. It's great to see you. My name is Erin. I'm a senior here at the Tempe campus studying business management. I just had a question about the pilot program for menstrual equality that is happening across all 4 campuses. It's my understanding that ASU is currently conducting the pilot program for free menstrual products in select bathrooms on each campus. I was just wondering what the next steps for this program would be, and if you see in the future ASU providing free menstrual products in every bathroom across all of the campuses. Thank you.
I think we've agreed to that. The answer is yes. And so what we have to do is just figure out exactly what products, what vendors we're going to work with, how we get this all put into the structure and so forth. So the answer is yes, we just don't need to do it right. Vice President Hightower, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, we started this year.
Jennifer Hightower, Vice President for Student Services. Wait.
As you mentioned, we've got them also available in Sun Devil Fitness. We've got them available in gender neutral restrooms, as well as housing and health services. What we want to do is make sure that we can maintain the level of expectation that students have to be able to get access to the products. So we are converting some of the machines over to free machines. We've done that. I'm sure you've probably seen those in the union or student facilities. And we're working on what that's going to look like across all the locations that we have and making sure, again, that we can maintain the expectation.
Thank you. So we're interested in modernization of all these things. And so we've gotten really good input from student leaders the last few years about some things that we should make available on the West Campus and the Polytechnic Campus, for instance, where there isn't a drugstore nearby. So people have access to what they need from a machine. So we did a deal, I think with CVS or somebody. Yeah, with CVS. And so these restroom issues, other things that other things that we need to be doing, we need to hear what these things are. And these are things we should be doing. So we're going to do them. So, and we're in the process of getting it underway. So.
Perfect. Great to hear. Thank you so much.
Hi there. My name is Luis Zambrano. I'm a junior studying journalism. And the question I would like to ask you is this. When I first came to ASU, I should explain that firstly, I'm a DACA recipient. And when I first came to ASU, I had a very difficult time trying to find resources downtown. And it wasn't until I was guided all the way here to Tempe, where I met Dream Zone, UC. But my question is that with a lot of uncertainty that undocumented students face, what are you doing to help alleviate some of the stress and how are you providing more resources to them?
Yeah. So thanks for that question, and thanks for speaking out. It's complicated, as you know from your own experience. And so each student that's here, brought here to this country by their parents, and then they graduate from an Arizona high school, and then they get admitted to ASU, and then there's been complications relative to the financial aid model. There's been complications relative to the tuition level. There's been complications relative to the legal status, the perceived legal status. There's been complications relative to immigration and custom enforcement things that they've been saying. And so all of that creates for the student, and I really appreciate you bringing this up, uncertainty, anxiety, all kinds of things. And so it turns out that we are trying very hard on every campus at a single point of contact, the Dean of Students office, a single point of contact, the Dean of Students office, to be able to answer any and all questions, to help with financial aid, to help with other issues, to help with family issues, to help work through other kinds of things. And so sometimes students find that, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they ask a person and they don't get the answer quite that the one they want. And then they, like anybody, well, that person doesn't have the answer. So then they don't know what to do. What you need to do, and let me speak not only to you, but to other students that have concerns or questions or issues. If you don't get the answer that you want from the Dean of Students office, you write me, michael.crow@asu.edu. You don't have to wander around wondering who's going to help you. We'll get the right person in front of you right away. We'll get your problem solved right away. If we can't solve your problem right away, we'll at least get you on a path to get it solved as soon as possible. And that's the way to do this. And so we have hundreds of students that are here under the DACA classification. They have scholarships. They're making their own investments. They're advancing with their lives. And we're very happy that we're able to provide services for those students to move forward. And so, but if there's any issue, Dean of Students on your individual campuses, Jennifer, we can communicate again with all of the DACA students to reiterate this and get a message out to all of them. And then if some of you know students who are DACA or undocumented and not DACA, also present at the university, then they've got to ask questions. Now we are seeing, just to be a little bit clearer about this, we do know that lots of students are concerned about all of the discussions going on and so forth. And so they don't even always raise their hand for questions sometimes. And so within the university, students should be raising their hand and talking to the Dean of Students.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Dr. Crow. My name is Evan. I'm second year in computer science here at Tempe. I was wondering, with the increase in students every year, what the university was doing to accommodate parking here on the Tempe campus?
Yeah, so interesting. So the answer is we have lots of parking spaces on some campuses, very few parking spaces on some campuses, like the downtown campus. And so So what we have is we have greatly expanded our access to the university through public transportation. We've greatly enhanced our bus system and its bus system. And then on the Tempe campus, we invest in the Orbitz bus system. So we have the university bus system, the Orbitz bus system, the Valley bus system, and the light rail system. So 4 public transportation systems that we're actively involved in. And then relative to parking, it turns out that there is never a moment when all of the university's parking spaces that are available to students are full, ever. We've studied this. We've looked at it very closely. We understand that it's not an issue. Now, it may not be at the spot you want to park at. So there may be another space that's, 10 minutes away. And if you're like me, you're arriving like a minute before your meeting. And so I pay a lot of money to have a reserved spot, for 24 hours, 7 days a week access that I pay for. So we're not, well, we are adding a couple thousand new spots on the Tempe campus and a parking structure that's under construction now. It'll do 1,200 now and 1,200 soon in terms of parking. And so the answer is, it's tough, plan ahead, always have plan B or plan C, and get a bike. And so.
Thank you, Dr. Crow.
Hello, Dr. Crow. My name is Edward. I am a 5th-year student studying political science and biology with a genetics concentration. I'm from the Phoenix area. I was curious, throughout this presentation so far, you've discussed how much ASU has grown and how many programs are available to everybody in its expansion, and all of that is fantastic. But I'm curious as to the extent to which you consider that to be sustainable, and I'll clarify a little bit. I work a lot with Barrett, the Honors College, and one of our criticisms at Barrett is that we have a lot of different opportunities, but not a lot of people taking advantage of those opportunities. And I see that as being a potential issue with ASU with the extent to which we grow. And I wanted to hear your take on that.
Yeah, so what was interesting, you said we have a lot of opportunities and people are not taking advantage of the opportunities. So if the opportunity exists and they're not taking advantage of it, what do you think the reason is?
I think that while we have a lot of different opportunities, as previously explained, there isn't as much being done to develop and market these opportunities to different individuals. And I know that there's a lot of work being done to try and do that, but at this point, so far, from my perception, obviously, my limited perception, it hasn't been enough to actively engage a large member of the student populace. Now, a lot of ASU's community is actively engaged, but there is still a substantive, non-negligible portion that isn't.
I would agree with that. And so what we call internal marketing, which is the marketing of our existing programs. So we have brand new, so how many of you know, I'll just ask for, how many of you know we have a school for the future of innovation and society? So people have heard about that. What about the other places? Few people? But I think we have 8 freshmen, eight first-year students in that school. And so what happens sometimes is that we start new things and then people have to sort of get used to them and understand what they are. And then they'll talk to mom or dad and dad will say, you're not studying that. You're studying history or something that I've heard of. And so we know that we need to do more relative to internal marketing. We know that we need to do more. Now, what we need is help here. So it used to be that every major university, and I loved to get this when I was in college, I would get the catalog, which was every single course in the university, and I would read it page by page by page. And I would imagine all the courses that I couldn't take and how cool that was. So there were courses in agronomy that in rhizospheric rhizome microbiology activities going on in subsoil stratification zones, and there's all this stuff going on. And there were courses in elaborate methodologies of military history and the dynamic flow of the European armies during the 100-Year War and the religious wars in France. And I wanted to take all these classes, but I couldn't. But I knew they were there. And the fact that I knew that they were there made me a better student. It made me more aware of what other students were. And so now everything's online, you search it, you don't get it all together in one place. So we're at this moment in visualization history where it's hard for us to express the totality of the university because you don't get this catalog. If you had the catalog, So we offer 20,000 separate courses, give or take, at ASU. We offer courses in everything you can possibly imagine. You would have a better understanding of learning if you could see all that. Now, it would cost $10 a copy or something like that to produce such a thing. Many people wouldn't use it. How many of you have ever used catalogs or phone books? So how many of you know what a phone book is? So we're going to need to do a better job educating students as to all the opportunities they have, the courses that they have. Now I have a way. So how many people are double majoring? So a few. So I had 2 majors and 3 minors because I was crazy. Now I wanted to major in 5 things and I couldn't do it, but I had this catalog that I could study. And so I'm a big believer that students should take, if they can, 2 majors or 1 major and 3 minors. And that they should then have, and they should be delving into these different areas. Now, my children don't like me because of that, because I made all of them do that. and they're like, Dad, why'd you make me do that? I said, well, you'll learn when you're much older, you'll understand. And so I think students should be sampling courses, looking at courses, studying courses being offered in other areas, thinking about what other majors look like, looking at major maps. Like, how many of you know what a major map looks like outside of your area? Yeah, so start studying some of them outside your area. So how many of you are interested in more than one thing? Okay, study the major maps and the other 4 things you're interested in. Understand how knowledge is created in those subjects. And then if we could do a better job along that, then we would have a better way of, I think, internally marketing and overcoming some of the issues that you have. But that's a really good point, and we're going to work on that. And I'm going to talk to the marketing hub to see what else we can do to get students to understand all of the assets that we have.
Thank you.
If there's no other questions, then we'll pass it on to the West Campus. Thank you so much.
West Campus.
How are you doing today, Dr. Crow? Thank you so much for coming out today to be able to answer our questions and to have student involvement with this whole discourse. So here at ASU West, obviously we're the smallest campus, but we also do have a few questions we'd like to ask for you. So we will start off with the first question. Keely Nunez. Yes.
We think you're in that room all by yourself.
No.
Hi, my name is Keely Nunez. I'm a junior here at ASU and I'm studying forensic science. And the question I have for you today is, since we have an active organization on campus who who have white supremacy, how can we best restrict their hatred towards other students?
Yeah, so I'm not familiar with which organizations we have that are active in white supremacy, save one. That is that they're connected to an organization, and so this is a complex area of free speech. We work on this with our student affairs office relative to who's a part of what organization, which is espousing what. Every student at the university, including all of you that are here, have signed, or at least checked the box that you have signed and understood the student code of conduct relative to hate speech, relative to conduct, and so forth. And so if there are incidents of hate speech or incidents of inappropriate communication or inappropriate actions or inappropriate activity, you have to let us know. I'm going to ask Jennifer to talk about this particular issue just a little bit and where we are with our deans of students and maybe our dean of students from this campus.
Sure. Yeah, I'll have Sharon come up too. Sharon, so I want to echo something that Dr. Crow just said. It's really important that students let us know when they are experiencing any kind of incident of hostility, or if they feel like there's, hate speech, or there's anything in the environment that's causing, students to feel like they are not respected and appreciated. We do have 1,000 clubs and organizations, and clubs and organizations have to register every single year, and there's a specific set of things that we expect from them. That doesn't mean that we necessarily monitor every speaker they bring in or activity. However, they do have to get approvals and permissions to use our facilities and our spaces. And so through that process,
and the conduct is required
of using that, right. And so the process to do that affords us the ability to also understand what's going on in these organizations and then to work through those issues preemptively if we see that there are things that are happening on campus that are not consistent with our own value set in our own charter. But again, I would highly recommend that any student who's experiencing anything where they feel is an act of disrespect, hostility, racism, they need to get in touch with student affairs, student services immediately. And I'm going to go ahead and have Dean of Students, Sharon Smith, speak a little bit.
Good afternoon. So it's really important if you are hearing about any students or organizations, please let us know. On every location, we have a Dean of Students office, and what we'll do is work with the student organization. If they are sponsoring someone, we also help them understand what it means to sponsor an individual who might have speech or actions that are not consistent with our student code of conduct. So our office is really designed to support the success of your organization, but also to help the development of our students, because oftentimes what you think might be a great idea, sometimes we could just help you work through what it means to bring certain individuals on campus, and then also the charter of your particular organization, so we can support you in that. But let us know if you hear organizations that aren't consistent with who we are.
Let me just add to Dr. Smith's comments. And so down to specifics. So if there's a specific student group that seems to be connected to some other group that is possibly inappropriate, and they seem to be forwarding that affiliation, or if they're bringing in speakers who are representative of these things, then you have to tell us to the specific, who this is and what it is and so forth and so on, because we might not know. At least we might not know soon enough. And then generally always what we do is we then engage that group. We engage the student leaders of that group. We engage the board of that group. We engage the faculty advisor of that group. And we say, what is this? What's going on? Do you know about this? What about this connection? And most often the issues are resolved at that point, and occasionally they're not. So be as specific as possible.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Dr. Crow. How are you doing today?
Very good.
Okay, hope you're having a blessed day. So my question is, how will ASU help with providing voter registration among all campuses, and how can we have students be more encouraged to vote?
That's a very high priority of the elected student government leaders. And so every student should be registered to vote if you're 18 years old. If you're not registered to vote, it's like if you're a citizen and you're not registered to vote, it's like what are you doing? You need to be registered to vote, and you need to be voting for whoever you support. We are working with student government leaders, and we're working with the County of Maricopa to have as many polling places on campus as possible, expanding the number of polling places. The last time we had an election that involved students that students could participate in, there were long lines, and we're trying to get more polling machines into those voting places. Politics is a complicated, rough and tumble business. And so we're making the case, and the more students we have registered to vote, the more case we can make for the machines in the precincts to take the votes and to tabulate the votes. And so we're doing everything we can. We're encouraging from my office. We're encouraging from student government leadership offices. We're encouraging through faculty and academics and deans and others. And so it is in fact about the fact that it turns out that people under the age of 30 do not participate significantly in the electoral process. It's like strange. And so I know that everybody's busy, but I'm like, elections matter. Turns out elections matter. And so people need to get involved and participate. So thank you for bringing that up.
Thank you so much.
Hello. Hi, President Crow. My name is Spencer Pellegrini. I'm a senior in political science. And I just wanted to bring up kind of a simpler question for a friend of mine. She wanted to address the, we kind of touched on this already, but much like Phoenix, ASU has been experiencing a sort of a population boom. And we, I'm sure we're doing our best to cater to the growth of students here, but on all campuses, I've heard that there's been something of an overflow, and I know that here on the West Campus, we've actually had students that have had to be moved to a hotel rather than staying in the dorms. So I was wondering what the administration is currently doing with that.
Yeah, so there's two types of potential overflow. Academic overflow, which we don't experience because we grow our instructional staff to meet the demands of the size of the student body. So we're okay there. We do occasionally have an issue, like you mentioned, where more students will show up that want to live on a particular campus than we have spaces on that campus. And then we make temporary spaces available. And then within a semester or so, it's taken care of. We're also expanding the residence halls on the Polytechnic campus, on the downtown campus, and then ultimately on all of the campuses, the West Campus. So all of that's underway. I think we have 17,000 students living on campus with us. 3,000 more than just 2 years ago. And then how many had to live in temporary spaces? So 250 went to temporary spaces at the beginning of the semester, and that's now down to 65 because some people didn't show up or some people decided to get an apartment or to live at home or something happened or whatever. And so in general, I think we're doing okay. We haven't had to do what has gone on at other schools like UCLA, where they've taken rooms designed for 2 people and put 3 people in all those rooms because we don't have as much of that. We have more individual rooms or separate apartments in a lot of our newer facilities. They're looking at me like maybe we did more of that than I thought. One space. One building we've had to do that in. Okay, good. And so, yes, so from a capacity, I was reading their facial expressions. And so I think we're in good shape relative to growth. Your campus that you're on isn't built out to handle 15,000 students, but the scale is capable on that campus of handling up to 15,000, and we're at like 5,000 or something on that order out there now. So I think we're okay. It's just sometimes we don't know exactly how many people are going to show up for the residence halls. And we always have enough food, though, always. That's easier to solve.
Thank you.
Are we switching campuses? Where's Yasmin?
Yeah, so we'll go back to downtown campus now.
Greetings, President Crow. My name is Braden. I'm a senior here at the downtown campus. We've been the top of the innovation game for 5 straight years. This is a dynasty. How far do you expect this dynasty to go? Are we shooting for 10, 15, 20?
So there are rumors. There are rumors that they may want to do away with the category. No, we don't know. So I wouldn't worry so much about where we are relative to the number of years. What you all are a part of, you all are at the public university in the United States most dedicated to egalitarian access with unbelievably high levels of academic performance. The typical model going forward is unbelievable high levels of academic performance with lower and lower levels of egalitarian access. So at a lot of major research universities that are public in the United States, well, first let me ask, how many of you had a B on your high school transcript of any type? Anybody? How many had straight A's, period, A+ average? Yeah, just a few people. So if you had a B on your transcript, you can't go to the University of California at Los Angeles. You can't go. You have to have a weighted GPA above 4.2 on a 4.0 scale. Okay, so we're going to be innovative whether or not we're recognized forever, because we've completely changed the culture of the institution around innovation. And so that's what we're excited about. And maybe they'll keep the category, maybe they won't.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Nora Thompson. I am a public policy major, and I'm a junior. I had a question. So I was wondering why exactly transfer students aren't included on official graduation statistics?
That is a very good question, and it's a massive distortion of public policy, and let me tell you how it works. So last week I was in Washington. I lose track of where I am, but I was in Washington last week. And so I was meeting with the president of the American Council for Education, a guy named Ted Mitchell. And we were talking about all these rules coming out of Washington. So the government of the United States pays attention to who comes from high school to college as a freshman. If you drop out for one semester from any college that you go to, you're classified a dropout. It affects the numbers of the school. If you don't graduate within 4 years, that then counts against the school. So the graduation rate is the 4-year graduation rate as calculated by people that enter as freshmen and never take a course at another school. That's how you get on that list. And so this notion of graduation rates and transfer students, for whatever reason, the government data, which is called IPEDS data, they don't calculate transfer students as a part of the graduation rate. So Provost Searle, I think we have about 85% of our transfer students are graduating from ASU. 80%. So we're doing very well in that arena. And so we have lots of transfer students, both coming on campus and coming online. We love transfer students. They're how many of you are transferring from a community college? So large numbers of transfer students. Yep. And so we have over 10,000 this year that'll be coming on campus and online, maybe more than that. I mean, it's huge number, but the government has these statistics. Now these statistics hurt us at ASU in particular. If you drop out of ASU for one semester to take a course at Scottsdale Community College for whatever reason, and then come back, you're counted as a dropout in our data. So it turns out that almost everyone that comes to ASU graduates. We pick students that can graduate, and over some time frame they graduate. But the federal government's statistics are built around the assumption that everything is Dartmouth College. Seriously, that you go to high school, you go to college, and you graduate in 4 years. And you don't have a job, and you don't work, and your family has lots of money. And so it just turns out that that's fantasy land for most families, fantasy land. And so those numbers just don't work. On other classifications, how are we doing on VSA numbers for 4-year? 60?
About 60-some%. Over the 6-year rate, I think it's almost 78.
Yes. So we're pretty happy about where we are, but that's the reason none of this data shows up. That's why we talk about freshman retention, first class retention. We talk about graduation rates, but none of this shows up in that. It's really an artifact. Now we know these numbers ourselves. So if you'd like these numbers, we can get them to you. So.
Would you want to maybe publish these numbers?
We publish them. We publish everything. So so you could take a look at my report to the board, which is an annual report called the OFR, the Operational and Financial Review Report, which is a 3-hour briefing that I give in about 150 slides. And so I'm happy to give that to you. One of our new senior staff, Ryan Shaw back there, he read it recently and looked at the video, right? So I can get it to you. You just let me know. It's on the web. It's also on my website. You can take a look at it there. And if you want hard copy, we'll send it to you.
Thank you.
Hi, President Crow. My name is Aiden Parsons.
What was your name again?
Aiden Parsons.
Aiden. Okay, nice to meet you.
I am a freshman downtown studying public policy. And my question is, in what ways is the downtown campus being promoted, and what are your future plans for the downtown campus?
Well, it's being so promoted that it's being overrun with students right now. So, so it has 13,000 students. Right over here, we're going to be building a brand new dormitory, which also has built into it lots of activities for the Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts. It's also going to have spaces for 500 students. Is that the number? 540 students who can then also start their own film company, their own business, their own enterprise right into the dormitory itself. So that's a part of the way that dormitory will be built. It's right across the street from the fabulous Circle K right there. And so yeah, we're working on that Circle K. So I've been in that Circle K enough times to know we got to work on that. And so, and so I go in sort of walking like this, you know. So promotion of the downtown campus, it's well known and highly popular. And the schools here that are on the downtown campus are doing very well. But if you have other ideas about how we could further promote the downtown campus, we can do that. So we'll soon have, with that, we'll have over 2,000 students living on campus in residence halls. We'll have several thousand students living nearby in apartments nearby. You know, we're building the Thunderbird School of Global Management headquarters right next to the law school, just a couple blocks from here. We've got lots of things going on. So there's a lot happening on this downtown campus. So.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, my name is Alexis Salmon, and I am a junior studying public service and public policy. And my question is related to the fact that ASU has the goal to be net positive when it comes to climate.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could explain some of the things that you guys are doing to make that happen at the university level.
Well, lately we've been correcting the state press a lot on their inability to study carefully our data. So hopefully they're doing that. So what we've committed to is zero carbon footprint for all things other than transportation. And we're making steady progress toward that even while we're growing. It's quite challenging, but nonetheless, we're making progress. We are approaching or at 70% renewable during the day, which is only a part of our equation. We can't solve the nighttime problem yet. We can't find a reliable, safe, affordable battery technology that can operate at the scale that we need to operate. When you need 100 megawatts at night because of air conditioning, it's hard to run 100 megawatts off of batteries. Just imagine. And so we're working on our solid waste. We're working on our transportation systems also. We're getting more people, notwithstanding the earlier question on parking, onto public transportation systems. We have a net zero building in the student pavilion on the Tempe campus. All the university buildings that we're constructing are all at least LEED silver or up. We just got LEED platinum for our Biodesign C building, which we're very excited about. These are very high bar achievements. So we have a lot going on. We're committed to it, but we also just launched and licensed one of the first carbon capture technologies on the planet. So we licensed this to an Irish company, and then over the weekend we were looking at possibilities of building a pilot plant to begin capturing carbon at scale right here in Arizona to demonstrate the utility of that. Once you start capturing carbon and start using it, you put value on carbon in the atmosphere, and then once you have that, you have a market. And once you have a market, things start changing very, very rapidly. So we have a lot going on, a lot that we're advancing on different fronts, and so that's a good question, and we remain committed to that.
Thank you.
Yep.
We have a few minutes left, so let's go back to Polytechnic campus.
We do have one question from this student right here.
Hello, my name is Devanya Jackson. I'm sophomore and I'm in software engineering. So my question to you is, first-time freshmen are considered for certain scholarships, such as the Obama Scholarship, which continue for 4 years, the academic program. And I was wondering, how come those same scholarships or maybe different programs aren't introduced for those that have achieved academic excellence while they're in college?
Yeah, we have some scholarships that are for students that do well once they get here. So so it turns out that the Obama Scholarship, I don't think has what's its minimum grade point coming in from high school? What? I think it's general. It's if you're admitted, so it's 3.0. So the Obama Scholarship is available based on your attainment of entry. I'm just using this as an example. Your attainment of entry and then your family's income. And so that's a need, and it's a need-based scholarship. And so our need-based scholarships are always available to students depending on your changing need. Our performance-based scholarships, our academic scholarships, are also always available. So what I'm going to do in your case is make certain that student affairs staff contacts you so we can get a complete, just in general, not just for you, but anybody else that you're aware of, financial aid analysis. So the thing is to always be asking, hey, I'm doing okay. I'm doing well in school. I need some more financial aid to be able to, finish here. And so it's really the key is raising your hand.
Yeah, because the thing is, I've attended the financial aid building quite several times. And, I've seen these scholarships on these scholarship portals, send in applications. And I know a lot of them are like fast web-esque scholarships where many of the times it takes you to a certain website or another, I guess you say, scholarship program, whatever you'd like to call it. But when it comes to, ASU specifics, they couldn't direct me to anything.
Yeah. So who's out there? Right. So here's the person that's going to contact you. So just hold on. Just for everybody's benefit's sake.
Hey, thank you for the question.
of students at the Poly campus, Executive Director for a Disability Resource Center. Thank you for the question. Regina Matos, who is the associate dean, she should be in the room sitting with you, right? She should be coming your way.
Okay. All righty.
Regina, let's see you. Come on over.
Howdy.
Where's Regina? Hey, Regina. We got to make sure that we get the questions answered here so that you can get the financial aid analysis that you need, and we can figure out what scholarships might work for you. So,
Sure, we'll go ahead and take care of him.
all right, thank you.
One last thing. In layman's terms, what would you like? Let's say, me, you riding in an Uber together, and our Uber driver asks us, "Hey, what does it mean to be number one in innovation, or why are you guys number one in innovation?" I know you guys said there's a vote for it. All the university, there's representatives from each university that votes upon it. What would you say makes us?
Yeah,
number
I'm
one?
belonging to the Uber driver, like the 2 Uber drivers I had yesterday, and so I would say we're number one in innovation because this is a university where students from every family background can attend the university and have access to a faculty as good as any faculty anywhere in the world, and there's no barrier. And so most Uber drivers would get that, including those that now have access to ASU through our special deal we have with Uber.
I might have to, hit that up, discounts. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We got one more there at Poly.
We have time for one more question. So if Polly has one more, or if we want to move on to Tempe.
No, you can move on to Tempe. Thank you, Dr. Crow. We appreciate it very much.
Thank you. I think he's going to be on radio or something.
Hello, President Crow. My name is Trey Levesque. I'm a third-year student majoring in business, global politics, and I just wanted to bring up one quick question about recycling on campus. We've had several students kind of express concern in terms of what is recycled, what isn't, and we've even witnessed some recycling being thrown in the trash cans as well by maintenance. And so we just wanted to kind of address to you kind of what is the university's goal in terms of recycling and making sure that things that are recyclable are recycled.
We're trying to go to no waste. So if you see maintenance people dumping stuff into the wrong receptacle, you should take their picture and send it to us, and so we can get them to not do that anymore. And so most people do their best. I mean, some people, you don't think, you don't know. It's like, what is this? I mean, I often read the sign, like, which one of these does it go into? And so the key is to hold everybody accountable. So this is what we're trying to do. So if it looks like it's not working, you need to give us the details and let us know what's going on. If people seem to be doing the wrong thing, give us the details. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it corrected. So we're looking to have no solid waste that we're throwing away. Everything's being recycled. Everything's being used. Everything's being composted or turned back into metal fragments or plastic fragments or wood fragments or glass fragments, whatever it happens to be. So if it looks like we're not doing that, then you got to let us know.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Walk the campus. I took 30 pictures on this campus all over the place. I found like a dead bat somewhere where there shouldn't have been one. Yeah, I mean, it's just, well, it looked like someone had like put a little Kleenex over it or something like that. So I just take pictures, and I send these pictures to people and I say, why is there a dead bat on campus with a little funeral thing over it? So. All right. Are we done? Or we got time for one more?
I think we have time for one more. West Campus, do you guys have another question?
Yeah, we have one question. Yeah, I can ask. I'll just ask. So I actually wanted to ask you this question in the last forum, and I finally have the opportunity to ask you now. So, President Crow, I wanted to ask, so when you were a student, what were some of the ways and methods, obviously because mental health is such a big thing for every single student on campus, regardless of the university. So I wanted to ask, when you were a student, how were you able to balance your mental health with your studies and work?
Yeah. So one thing I tried to do when I was in college was worry about college. No, meaning I didn't worry about the world. I worried about college. And so now, because you all have access to everything that's happening, like every tornado and every person with a gun and everything that's happening and every issue. So this is one thing we haven't figured out yet. So because you have access to ubiquitous information. So you know about something that happened thousands of miles away as if it happened in your neighborhood. Well, it didn't happen in your neighborhood. The country is 330 million people. The planet is approaching 8 billion people. There are things happening. You may not know this, but you can look this up. Look up Steven Pinker's book on the status of the world now. It's Enlightenment Now. So today is the best day in the history of this species. The best day in the history of our civilization, whatever it is that we've built as humans. There's never been a moment like this before, ever. There's never been fewer people being killed in war, more people living longer, for all the things that we're still working on and all the things we're still trying to fix. This is the best moment we have ever achieved. And so I knew that when I was in college because I read enough history to understand what things used to be like versus what they were like now. And I knew about my own history of my own family and all the things that we'd been through and all the horrible things that had happened to us and, all kind of stuff. And so the thing that I would say relative to just general mental health is understand when you're living, understanding what you have, what privileged position you're sitting in, understand that you're inside this institution or connected to this institution, and focus on that. And then after you get yourself ready, then you're going to be a better mental athlete dealing with all of the stresses and the complexities out there in the world. Now, I'm not saying don't pay attention. I'm not saying that at all. But if you're like, just ripping your heart out every day because of something that's going on, I mean, you need to step back and get your brain and your heart in alignment, where you've got knowledge and insight and perspective. And if you're not, there's a history book I give to people when they say, well, things are going down the can in the United States. I'm like, compared to when? At what point in history are you talking about? Read William Manchester's book, The Glory and the Dream, which is just a short 40-year history of the United States between 1932 and 1972. Just that short little moment of time. And you'll realize upon looking at that book that, man, we live in a world that's not anything like that world. Look at what's gone on around the world as different things are going on. And so that's number one. Number two, what I would say is if you're feeling anxiety, which everyone does, if you feel depression, which everybody does from time to time, and then it doesn't go away, you need to talk to somebody. You need to raise your hand and talk to a friend, you can't talk to your parents, you talk to a counselor, you talk to somebody, and you just get some perspective. It's all about perspective. Perspective, like how you're doing. And then if what you're dealing with doesn't go away even after you talk to people, then you have to see a professional and you got to get some help. You got to get somebody that can take a look at what's going on in your body, because it could be biochemical, it could be a heredity, an inherited thing that you've taken on in the way your brain works or something. And then you need to take a look at it. And almost always it can be remedied. It can be made something that you can deal with. So it's outlook, help, and if you need physicians, then you get physicians. And you shouldn't be afraid to ask for any of that, ever. All of those things. But most important is yourself. Do not get yourself sucked into what you think of as a swirling mess in our society, that we're all doom and gloom and we're all going down the tubes and there's all kinds of things going on. And but very few of them impact you personally. So, okay, are we done? I'll give you back. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Crow. For those of you who are here on the downtown campus, feel free to grab some food. It'll be on your left when you walk out the door. Thank you so much for coming.